The Boston Celtics are locked in as the number 3 seed in the Eastern Conference, with their opponent more likely than not being the Philadelphia Sixers for the first round of the playoffs. I'm Sierra Goodwill here with Jimmy Toscano and Bobby Manning. Guys, Celtics Sixers, the recent budding rivalry, the matchup that fans definitely wanted to see, and a lot easier for the Celtics now with Ben Simmons out of the way. Is this the best matchup possible for the C's?
For certain. And budding, this is a full-blown rivalry at this point after the last couple of years. This matchup's awesome. Like, old heads love it because of the 80s, like our boss Nick Gelso. There's a lot of history there. We got the young version from a couple of years ago, the series and the confetti and all that stuff. Like, this is fun. I still think it's a challenge because there's still size. There's still a superstar on the other side in Joel Embiid who's going to challenge the Celtics. And it's a series that could get under their skin a little bit. It's not like Indiana last year where they just breezed through it. And the Celtics might breeze through this one too without Simmons. Who knows? But there'll be tensions each game along the way. And I don't think any win individually will be easy still without Simmons even.
Yeah, and I love the drama and the storylines away from just like the on-court stuff. Like Celtics Pacers is more just like who's the better team and then, good game and go on your way. But Celtics Sixers, I meant to say Celtics Pacers is like that. But Celtics Sixers is like you said, Bobby, Embiid, unfortunately not Simmons, but there's still that dislike between, you had like Simmons, Jaylen Brown thing, not too long ago. Like Boston, Philly. So there's a lot of back and forth there. I still think Philly is a formidable opponent. You can't just go in there thinking they're going to lie down because they're not. I mean, they're competitors. Tobias Harris can score. They do have some talent. I don't think that they're extremely deep. Like, I don't put them up there with like the Raptors or the Heat in terms of depth or the Bucks. But they could steal a couple games easily if you lead your guard down. I mean, Embiid is one of those guys who can get under your skin, and the Celtics can get under his skin. They have in the past. So these are all the things that make playoff basketball fun, and I think it's the best, most fun matchup possibility for the Celtics too.
Well, you mentioned him, both of you did. Joel Embiid, he's the guy that is the problem for the Celtics. There's no doubt about that. We've talked about the size issue ad nauseum for the Celtics, and there's ways they can work around it. But with a specimen like Joel Embiid, how do they attack it? Because we know the Sixers took 3 of 4 in this regular season, and Embiid was a problem in all of those games. Yep. How do they attack him now for this series?
It'll be double teams. They've always doubled him. They'll throw Tatum alongside Tice, and they'll throw Hayward out there. The thing that worries me about this, and this is kind of like a paranoid feeling going into a series that we as Celtics people feel. Do other guys break out now that Simmons is gone, like a Furkan Korkmaz or some of the other shooters that they have deeper on this bench? Now that you have just Embiid out there, and I guess Horford will be out there too, but that's a guy who can shoot where Simmons, as we all know, can't. Is the floor going to be more spaced out? Can Embiid kill them more out of those double teams? I saw a stat that Embiid's passing better out of double teams this year with Simmons inactive. So those are things to look for. Simmons kills the Celtics. He always has. He's a tough matchup for them. But even in his absence, I feel like they have some weapons that can make it tough on the C's defensively. And, Tice Scalabrine talks about it every night. All he does is draw fouls. And Embiid is definitely a guy who can hash out some foul trouble.
Yeah, I mean, the key will be getting Embiid in foul trouble, right? I mean, because he is essentially, it's going to come down to him. With Simmons out, they're only going to go as far as Embiid's going to take them. Now, he has done extreme amount of damage against the Celtics, but I don't think that it's like a Buck situation where I don't think the Sixers are deep enough where if you take Embiid out, they're not going to beat you. They don't have enough talent to beat you. I mean, I am interested to see how Al Horford does against his old
playoff
team.
Horford, exactly. First year in Philly.
Starter role. I mean, he's obviously a very smart player out there, and I'm sure he's going to bring his A game, and it'll be very interesting to see like some of the young guys go up against him again, like Tatum and those guys, just to see that matchup. But it's kind of like, the master is teaching the young grasshopper, like, who's going to win, so I kind of like that. But we'll see. It'll be fun.
We'll continue to preview this matchup ahead of the start of the NBA playoffs next Monday. So be sure to check out all of our Celtics content on our website at clnsmedia.com and subscribe to our YouTube channel over at Celtics All Access.